It's not just like the tricks you do that are going to get you kind of like well received or like there were plenty of skateboarders I remember being younger that were amazing, that were gifted, that were great, but just did not they had just were missing something. It could be style, it could be the clothes they wear, it could be, but then also carrying yourself, like you said. I mean, you could be a great skateboarder, but if you are, if you're surrounded by a group of guys and you are kind of kooky, then you're not gonna, last really. And and that was a big thing for me. It was hard, but also, just kind of, there's so many characters out there. It's just life. It's crazy. Just coming of age, and in my coming of age was in skateboarding and California, New York. And yeah, I mean, you're surrounded by a lot of characters, a lot of kids from different places, different upbringings. And you have to kind of, you know, you kind of just, because especially like growing up in Long Island, I had my group of friends, and I was used to acting a certain way with my friends, and I knew what I could get away with, and I knew what I could push, and I knew I could be a goof. And I'm still like, we're still boys. But you can't, you get older, you mingle with new people. You can't just do that anymore. You have to kind of learn to conduct yourself and what's appropriate, what's not. And yeah, it's a big thing. And I think I got definitely caught up in not playing yourself, like, type of thing. That
When
was
you
like
say not
big.
playing yourself, you mean like not being who you are, or just not playing yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not being who you are. That's the sad thing is, yeah, you don't want to play yourself. So are you not being yourself? Are you hiding a part of you that wants to come out, but you're just too like shook to like let yourself be free? And I think a lot of us maybe fall victim to that growing up and being young and coming of age, because we want to be liked and, accepted. So, but I think, like, I don't know. I tend to think growing up with the whole hip hop era in '90s, and everyone was cool and everything was like tough guy and everything was, that's what seemed to consume my brain. And yeah, and what came with that was never playing yourself and always kind of being cool and always, you know, um, not showing your ass. And but then, like, yeah, you can't deny that the guys that you saw doing that, you admired because they were just being themselves. And you wonder, why can't I just be like that? But that came later on. That came way after, like, oh, I wish I was more not so concerned with how I looked and how I acted, because just spending too much time in your head and not living in the moment and just being yourself. It's, those are the things. Yeah, those are the things I want to pass on to my kids. Just like being yourself and learning, like, knowing how to conduct yourself. Of course, is important with every industry, I would imagine. I mean, you know, um, it just comes with. I think that's like a life thing, right? Like with every industry, with everything you do, it's that's how people have jobs and stay with a job, because they conduct themselves properly, or they, and then there's goofs that kind of get treated as goofs, I guess, and unfortunately. And that's the thing that I've learned over the years, doing interviews, doing some podcasts, and like being put in a spotlight type of situation, that I regret. Like every time I look back at it, I'm like, I wish I would have elaborated a little bit more on things and not been so like direct to the point. Because when I see other people doing interviews that seem to have a little less concern with that stuff, it just looks amazing and it's more interesting, and it's pleasant to watch. So I've the reason it's nice to be to continue being offered doing things like this. I would hope that each time I'm getting more and more open with my answers, with my perspective, because I guess for me it takes those experiences to learn from and kind of, just let things go more.
Yeah.
But I still have it. Yeah. So we were sitting on the couch talking before I came, and it feels completely different now. I'm in the chair
That's
with the
how it
mic in
is,
front of me.
man. It's
So it's
fucking
just,
insane.
yeah. So I'm trying to, you know, um, get into it. And unfortunately, sometimes by the time you get into it, the interview's over, and then you're like, all right, well, like, maybe we can,
Yeah,
get
I
5 more minutes.
know.
But if this feels good, and yeah, all I could do is just try to not be too concerned about this shit. I mean, I wonder, like, how are the kids these days that are in their 20s, being a pro skater, traveling? It seems different because, I mean, the demand on the skating is so much I don't even know if it's a demand. It's just how much skating is being done now compared to, we used to go on tours and not even skate. Like we would show up at a demo and like if we didn't skate, it was normal. It was like that we just showed up and that was good enough.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of fucking crazy, Um, and now it's like you go on a tour, you go do a demo and it's like filmed and there's a video made about it. There's like, clips, it's just, um, and can you be getting fucked up and partying and being a rock star doing that constantly? Because I mean, the amount of, like, for instance, you see a person like Tiago, right? I mean, how much footage is he putting out? And it's kind of insane when I compare it to the amount of footage that we put out as pros or myself in my day. And it's like I barely, I think maybe my whole body of work is one video part of his, and he's put out I don't know how many. So it's crazy. And with that, how can you be, like partying every night and getting fucked up and living that lifestyle, but I don't know if I'm off topic, but like it was easier when you're younger. It just was a normal thing to be getting, doing the nighttime thing and then waking up doing the skateboarding thing and then doing the nighttime thing. It just was easier to do when you're young. I mean, yeah, if I could turn back the clock, I would have been straight sober like throughout my whole fucking life, especially skateboarding in the days, you know, I would say more in my 30s as well. I wish I treated skateboarding more seriously in my 30s because I feel like those are the years that you probably could benefit the most because your 20s, yeah, you're young and you have, physically it's all good, and but I think in your 30s, you know a lot more, you're a little bit
Mm.
more strategic and you can put things together and be more creative, and but at the same time you have the physical still and capabilities of doing whatever you want. So but unfortunately the mentality and that I thought or that I had was, I was watching guys retire when they were in their 20s.
Yeah.
So that didn't leave a good impression on the longevity of a career in skateboarding. By the time I hit 30, I was like, I can't believe I'm on a chocolate tour at a pancake house celebrating my 30th birthday in the morning. I felt like it didn't feel good. I just felt over the hill and like already questioning my future and what am I going to be doing with my life? Like 30 is too old to be a skater, and now 30 is young. So um if only you could just be in the know, in the moment, in the time, instead of having to look back and say,
Yeah.
why did I have to like trip so hard? You know, but unfortunately it's like, yeah, you talk to anybody, everybody feels old, everybody feels over the hill, everybody feels, you know so I always try to say to anyone younger than myself that's doing the same thing, like, dude, just take advantage now,
Yeah.
man. You're not old. Just like keep it moving. Don't waste time on that bullshit.